GPS says that.
Awesome. We are officially live. Welcome to the Chiropractic Compass podcast, brought to you by the legendary Chiropractor online community. Tonight is a fabulous, fabulous night, and I could not be more excited for our guest this evening. And if you are a chiropractic student watching this live or watching this on replay, you need to watch the entirety of this video. And that's not for playthroughs. That is strictly for your knowledge, for the value that Hayley and Taylor are going to offer tonight. It is going to be absolutely epic. So I am pumped. Hayley just messaged me before jumping on. She's like, this is going to be raw. It's going to be unscripted. I'm like, let's freaking go. This is going to be sweet. So we have DC2Bs and literally 2Bs in like months.
16.
Like not even like thinking about like 6 months or a year. This is like coming up around the corner. And this is Taylor Maclean and Hayley Parker, and we are here tonight with them sitting down and diving deep into some really cool chiropractic student more so geared topics. So with that being said, guys, please introduce yourselves. Hayley or Taylor, go first. Just talk a little bit about your chiropractic story and what got you really to go to chiropractic school and why, right?
I'll go first. Hi, guys. I'm Hayley. I'm a 13th quarter student at Life University. Freaking love chiropractic, and it saved my life, quite literally. I was having these really, really bad migraines from the time I was like 12 years old until I started college about 18 or 19. I was having essentially every symptom of a stroke but my age. So it was really quite scary, sitting in the emergency room. I have IVs all in me and I have no idea what's going on. And I had, every neurologist, every PCP, every specialist, every MRI, blood work, the whole 9 yards. And I always got the answer of, oh, sorry, we have no idea what's wrong with you. And, I'm sitting there at 15, my whole left side of my body is numb. I can't see, I can't speak. Had this massive, just felt like there was like a machete right through my forehead. And I was told that I was fine. So everything from, we think it's a brain tumor to it's all in your head, and eventually they were like, sorry, we have no idea what to do with you. Take this med forever. Sorry about your life. So, we were at our wit's end, and one of our friends worked at a chiropractic office in Charlotte, North Carolina, which is where I'm from, and referred us in. And me being like 16, I was like, oh, that doesn't make any sense to go to a chiropractor. Like, I've never been in a car accident. I don't have any neck pain. I don't have any back pain. Like, I didn't know any better. And so we get to the chiropractor's office, and as we all know, your cervical curve should be about 40, 45 degrees. Mine was negative 25 degrees. So about 60, 65 degrees in the wrong direction. And mind you, I'd never had any trauma, no sports injuries. Like, I was overweight and lazy as a child. So I never played sports. I never did anything traumatic to my body. And just somehow over the course of my lifetime up to that point, my body had compensated in that way that was literally wrecking my spine and my brainstem. So about 2 months after I started chiropractic care, I was off all my meds. And I have pretty much been migraine free since then. I've had a couple throughout the program with the stress and everything, but for the most part, I've been pretty under wraps, which is pretty amazing. And so we are dating, if that wasn't clear. So we met, and I decided to go on a mission trip to Guatemala about 2 weeks later, which if you've ever seen this tattoo on my wrist, that's Guatemala on a map. It has a big place in my heart and a little place on my arm. And so I went to Guatemala. I wound up meeting Dr. Nico Staples and Dr. Nick Mawson. They randomly just came on the trip with us. And they were the ones who essentially got us to come to Life Leadership Weekend. Now Taylor is pretty much interning in their office, which is super full circle. Yeah, literally coming from totally randomly meeting them in Guatemala of all places, and now we live about 10 minutes from Dr. Nico's office. So it's super random how things are not random in life, and just everything happens for a reason. Mm-hmm. And we wound up moving here really quickly, and we've had a whirlwind of a time. You want to tell a little bit more?
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Go ahead.
No, go Taylor.
Oh, so my bad. I was about a year out of undergrad, and I was just working a job I wasn't quite fulfilled with. I knew I wanted to go back to school. I knew I wanted to help people. Symptom-wise, I was pretty healthy. I was weightlifting. I was kind of losing some confidence in my back with like some squats and stuff. But and then I guess I always suffered with like ADHD and just like some brain fog, which cleared up with chiropractic. But started at a chiropractor, the same one that helped Hayley. She got me into it. Mm-hmm. He planted the seed that I should go back to school and become a chiropractor. Then little did I know that I would be going on this mission trip to Guatemala. 30 of us from Charlotte, North Carolina, randomly, Nick, Nico, Hannah, their little girl Ava, she was 3 months old, and then Becca Bixby and another student ended up on our trip. Randomly, Nico sponsored us to come to Life Leadership Weekend, and it couldn't have been more obvious where I was being led. Mm-hmm. So by far, like, chiropractic school has been the hardest thing I've ever done, but by far the best thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
And I mean, I went with the mentality, it was like, if I can get into chiropractic school, like if I even get in, because I didn't do well in undergrad, I'm going full force, and got accepted and then moved there immediately about 2 months or a month after the mission trip, and started prereqs.
Yeah.
So our first Wednesday in Atlanta, we were in Nico's living room doing his training sessions. So
yeah,
that is awesome.
Dove quick and just never stop.
Yeah.
That is awesome, which is what we are going to talk about tonight. So Hayley, great story, actually crazy story. Isn't that amazing? Like, our bodies speak to us, but we have no idea what is going on. But it's amazing how, you know, for us chiropractic students, it always kind of led us to chiropractic somehow. Because I was in the same boat with not necessarily migraines and headaches, and but I was in the same boat with allergies and stuff like that. So it's just nuts how that stuff corresponds with leading you down this specific path. And Taylor, for you, it's like a trip that changed your life, and a meeting and a greeting that changed the course of your the trajectory of your life. And it's like, I wrote this down when you guys were talking. It's like the universe speaks and you should listen. Like, sometimes and many times we don't hear it because it's, you know, muffled in mud or whatever. But it's amazing when you do actually step back and you're like, holy cow, none of this was a mistake. Everything happens for a reason, and it's just nuts. So both of your stories are super inspirational, and I love to ask them. Usually, you know, when I have students on, it's a little different, but when I have doctors on who have been out for like 40 years, and they're like, I haven't told this story in so long, and I'm like, that's what's so cool about, you know, taking you back, transporting you back to when this all started, right? And now you're 40 years into helping and serving your community and society. So with that being said, quick shameless plug. If you are watching this right now, you're a chiropractic student or a chiropractor, share this, like this, love this, comment, ask questions for Hayley and Taylor. They will answer them to the best of their abilities. I will also assist in answering them to the best of our abilities. We only know so much, but we hope we can answer your questions. And with that being said, also be sure to check out thelegendarychiropractor.com. Again, that's thelegendarychiropractor.com for all of your chiropractic needs, no matter a student or a doctor. So with that being said, on the Chiropractic Compass podcast, we always bullet point our topics. And those topics are diving deep into school, chiropractic school, obviously, and transitioning from student to doctor, which is my favorite topic to discuss. And I cannot wait to hear what you guys have to say. So let's start with this. Let's start with diving deep into school. What exactly, just explain to us like what you guys mean by that. What does that mean to you? And then we'll talk about how you go and achieve that. But what does diving deep into anything, say it be chiropractic school or life, how do you describe that?
So we knew from the get-go that this was a long-term thing and these were a long-term thing. And so we knew going into school that if we're going to use these forever, we better be darn good at it. So like Taylor mentioned, we literally started training the adjustment as soon as we got here. Like in undergrad, people were like, oh, why are you guys going to seminars? You're like not even starting the program for 3 quarters. And we're like, yeah, we have a 3/4 advantage. Why would we not?
Right.
And so when other people were kind of like giving us crap for it, we were like, okay, let's go. And so we were in doctors' offices, we were in seminars, we were just doing all that we could to make sure that we were the best that we could be, whether that was physically, mentally, spiritually, the whole game, like from a pretty early place. And so we were, like you said, our first Wednesday here, like we were in Dr. Nico's living room, like of course under doctor's supervision, but like, you know, just trying to learn all that we could, like right away.
Yeah.
And we didn't miss a Wednesday either.
No.
We probably did Nico's training session every Wednesday for a whole year.
Mm-hmm.
And then we switched to a different training session that was also Wednesday, did that for a year.
Yeah.
By that time, we were fully integrated into ninjas. I think we both started ninjas at the beginning of the program.
Yeah.
We did our first camp like around second quarter.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, that's a plug for like Dr. Lance Von Stade. I mean, he really lit a fire in both of us and like showed us like what you could become as a chiropractor if you train and like, really pursue that.
Absolutely. I remember Taylor went to his first Adjusting Ninjas. Well, I guess it was at that Kairos training camp. And what was it, first or second quarter? Like he flew to Dallas. And I was like, who flies somewhere? Like in my mind, I'm like, I support you. Like, go ahead. I'll pick you up and drop you off at the airport. But like, who go? Like, I had never been to the club on campus. And he'd been going for about a quarter before I did. And if you know anything about Taylor, he's very much like
chill.
Very chill. And so like if he's like, oh, that's cool, he's like super freaking amped about it. And like he texted me there. He's like, oh my gosh, like I can't wait to get home and tell you all about it. And I was like, okay, cool. Like he's seeming excited more than usual. This is weird. And so I picked him up from the airport and like, you know, that's like a good 30-minute drive back to Marietta where we live and right by the school. And he was like, oh my gosh, I have to tell you, blah, 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 blah. And he was just like going. And I was like, what happened? Like he was so fired up and like in a way that I like doesn't come out of him much. And I was like, okay, if this is the experience that he had and he was super amped about it, it's like I knew I had to go be a part.
I mean, we definitely say like those camps are something you don't necessarily like go to, but something that you leave from.
Yeah.
And so, and I don't know, with the whole training thing and like just diving deep into school and like chiropractic, I mean, I mentioned in my story, I was like, I really struggled in undergrad with academically. And then I knew that was going to be one of the things I'd struggle with here, especially with how tough the program was. But I don't know. Arno Bernier said it best. Like there's this parallel curriculum of like chiropractic school and boards, and then your training and like actually what you're learning to be a chiropractor for the rest of your life. Because boards is only through school and then you're done. Yeah. You never have to look at biochem again.
Right?
And but we're going to be putting our hands on people for forever.
Yeah.
And like we're going to be connecting with people and loving on people the rest of our lives.
Right.
So what got me through the academics of school was these training sessions, these morning sessions, whether it be KTC or MLS or BGI, or I could go down the list of all the techniques that we've both been through and stuff. But like, if it wasn't for that hands-on and like that connection with chiropractic and the philosophy and the technique, I don't know. I would have probably burnt out of the academic stuff.
Yeah.
Well, long past. So, and I mean, for any students out there, if I can make it through this program, I promise you can too.
And that is in political science.
Yeah.
I was studying at the time when I like first met Dr. Nico. I was in school to be an elementary school teacher. And so like neither of us came into chiropractic school with any kind of advantage in terms of academics. So we busted our butts to get through school, and, you know, it wasn't easy. And like we've had times, you know, like personally, like relationally, like spiritually, you name it, like we have gone through we've gone through life at life. Yeah. You know, and I think it's very easy to have that comparison, you know, because we've had people come up to us and be like, oh, I want like to be exactly like where you guys are, and I want to do this and I want to do that, and like, you know, put someone, not even necessarily us, but just like put people on a pedestal. And it's like, you know, it's very easy to put on a face and pretend like everything is fine, and we've literally gone through like some really tough times in school. And so like that's just to say, if we can make it through and just like push through and just do all the things that we've done in school, it's like we're not better than anybody else. like we didn't start better. Like none of our families are chiropractors, and like we never came through school with any kind of advantage at all. And we've busted our butts, and we've committed to each other and to this thing of chiropractic and to school. And we've like really come through a lot of stuff. And like, I'm super proud of us. And cause we have like done a lot in school, and people are like, oh, like I want to do this. It's like, you also don't see like the thousands of dollars that we literally put into seminars.
Instead of going ahead and spending $100 a night on alcohol.
Yeah,
right.
we were
$350 a weekend. So to learn how to do occiput lifts and
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, and that's the thing. Yeah, absolutely. And it's like, it's freaking nuts that like I even know you guys personally, and it's like I'm like, you know, like all of the things that you've been to, but it's I wanna shift here because I want to talk about like the prioritization, right? It's because like, I mean, in all honesty, chiropractic school, yes, is really, really hard. But at the same time, if you shift your priorities and you start working on time management and stuff, the academics will be the academics, right? Like, that's fine, right? You know it's going to be tough. You know it's going to be really hard and rigorous. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, check it off, jump through the hoop. But also, like you said, and I wrote this down before we started our show, is the parallel curriculum. And we need to talk about that further, and we're going to go into it in just a second. But we have a question. So, top 4 technique seminars to go to, your recommendations, ready, go.
like individually or together?
This is going to be some plugs. I mean,
both. It doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Definitely KTC.
Yeah.
Definitely anything with either John Martinez or Eric Rubin.
The Dow.
So, I mean, our biggest mentors through school, other than the ones that we met that got us through school, technique-wise, I mean, any of the KTC lead facilitators, and then the Dow, and that's with John and Eric Rubin, but either their stuff that they do separately, like Eric does BGI seminars, and then John does his own magic, which is called Numa.
Literally magic.
But, and then John also does a mission trip that's really dope. But, I mean, the top 2, I would put those as the top 2, like, that we really dove into.
Yeah.
If I would go back, I would have probably certified in something.
Okay.
So,
yeah,
whether it be like ICPA or something with sports chiropractic or, I don't know, just like some certification, just because I know that looks really good on resume, business plan, and paper when you're going to present yourself when it comes time to that transitioning to a doctor. But I mean, technique wise, you can't go wrong with KTC or anything Eric or John are putting out right now.
I would like to add 2 for my ladies, Lauren Kodak with NECAL chiropractic seminars. It's a seminar specifically geared to the female practitioner. And so, I mean, we'll probably get into this a little bit too, but like the way that I adjust and the way that he adjusts are super similar, and I'm not him.
Right.
So, like, as a female, not to try to create boundaries or whatever anywhere, but, like, my body is a little bit different. I don't have guns like that. That looks good in a Lululemon polo, you know? Like, I mean, but, like, it's not quite there. And so I love that Dr. Lauren breaks down, like, hey, this is how you can deliver the goods and be a badass and be a lady and, like, own your shit. Sorry.
No, great. Yeah, rock on.
And then, like, so Dr. Lauren is incredible. And then I would also add in Dr. Tim Young.
Yeah.
Some of his seminars, they're literally like a one day, like half a day kind of thing. And you leave with all these skills. And, like, if you've ever seen him adjust, like, if you blink, you will miss it.
It's nuts.
And the way that he delivers his stuff, like, he literally makes it so easy and applicable that you leave and you're like, oh, I'm totally Tim Young. I got this laid out.
Yeah. And then you go to do it and you feel like a tortoise and you're like, oh man. It's like, it looks like he's snapping his finger. It's unbelievable.
You literally, like, we have videos from his seminars and you have to put them on slow-mo on your phone.
Yeah.
Like, that's how you have to record them to, like, get out of it.
That's
so
awesome.
I would say like, those would probably be our top 4, like KTC, anything with John and Eric, Tim Young, and Dr. Lauren with NECAL.
Rock on. Yeah, that's great. I'm glad we answered that question. Hope that helped Sarah. And the next thing is the parallel curriculum. We talked a lot about training, right? We talked a lot about, academics, yes, but it's hard. We know it. Just get through it. Do what you can to pass boards, pass your classes, and get out to become a chiropractor. But that parallel curriculum, what does that mean to people? Like, if no one's heard that term, if, like, you were explaining this to someone who was like, what is that? I don't know what that means. Why are you talking about parallel curriculum? Talk to us about what that means, and then you guys can go into, like, what that meant for you guys.
So this kind of bridges from the last question to this question. Yep. But like one thing I always tell students is like pick either one club or one seminar a quarter. And I mean, you have 10 weeks. So it's like pick one seminar to do and then one club to commit to. And so like that's going to help you build that parallel curriculum. So we have our curriculum that school is set, and it's all to get us to pass boards. So we have the academic side. The other side, parallel to that, is I'd say the true chiropractic side, where you're learning to adjust. You're immersing yourself in the philosophy. Mm-hmm. You're learning to connect with people. You're learning to love and serve out of your own abundance. Yeah. And for me, that was just really going to church on the weekends and then making sure I was doing some kind of growth, like whether it be 1% a day, like just making sure I was better today than I was yesterday. Yeah. And like just learning one thing or training on one thing, whether it be like, okay, I'm going to do occiput strikes today, or I'm going to do cervical strikes or practice side posture on the drop table. Yeah. But just something to almost like disattached from the academics and attached to what you're going to be doing the rest of your life, which is serving the masses and loving on people.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that also helps you to step more into your purpose, because very quickly this student season is going to be over. And so once the academia is done, for those who have only invested into that, it's like, okay, well, when that's over, now what?
Right.
And so I feel like because we were doing probably 3 or 4 seminars a quarter, up until like last quarter. We are opening a practice and funds are kind of tight. Like all of our money that we've invested into seminars
is now going into building the practice.
Exactly. So we've definitely like pumped the brakes on the seminars in the last couple of quarters, but we also have laid such a solid foundation that like we walked into student clinic knowing how to adjust.
Yep.
In story. Without kind of saying too much, like that's not always the case. Mm-hmm. And so like we walked to the student clinic very confident in ourselves and our skills. We had legitimately people passing us. Like we did not ask anybody to be our patients, and we had at least 5 each the first day we walked in.
I think I asked one person. That's because I just wanted to hang out with them.
Yeah.
And then we were circles for each other.
Yes.
So.
Yes.
But student clinic, like my whole thing is like our student clinic is an open adjusting room. Mm-hmm. And then you have a doc breathing down your neck. And then 2 tables over, you have a doc glaring at you. Uh-huh. And then you have all of your classmates that you've been going through the program with for these past couple of years, all like staring at you, and like everybody's nervous. Nobody knows what to do. And so like my thing is like, I'd rather be, and I mean like learning to adjust can be frustrating, and it can be nervous. I mean, it's like you have somebody there, and it's like we came into school having binge watched Vampire Diaries. So like our first time learning cervicals, we were literally just thinking of snapping necks like Damien Salvatore.
We were terrified.
My whole thing was like, I want to get through all that awkwardness, all that nervousness, all that freaked outness, whatever it may be, however you react to it. I wanted to get that out and past me at the training sessions, on the weekends, on the nights like where it was just like Hayley and I working on each other. And it's like, I'd rather be nervous in front of one doc who's literally trying to teach me and a student who's trying to learn as well, versus trying to learn and serve this lower quarter student poorly who's looking up at me or even looking up to me.
Just trying to meet numbers.
Yeah, and just trying to meet numbers. Right. But like I'd get all that nervousness out of the way beforehand, before I got into student clinic, so that I could serve student clinic at a high level. And I mean, since we started adjusting in 2015, July 2015. So, I mean, like, technically, we've been adjusting for 4 years now.
Yeah.
Right.
By the time of the student clinic, we'd have been adjusting for 3 years at that point. So,
yeah. Of course, under supervision.
Exactly.
Right.
And setup.
Yeah, absolutely. No, you guys did a great job. The parallel, so to explain this a little further here, because you guys nailed it right on the head. The parallel curriculum is literally you have your academics and you have your technique, your philosophy, and everything else that you like to do. And then I want to add a third tier, and that's your hobbies, your external hobbies that you continue to do on a daily basis, no matter what that is, hiking, yoga, whatever. But you gotta, that's the trio of staying sane. And it's like, you have to do your academics because you want to be a chiropractor, but you also have to learn how to be a chiropractor through adjusting, and then you also have to maintain sanity between your ears, and that's your external hobbies that you have to do. So it's like that parallel curriculum really helps to build your confidence. Like you said multiple times, it's like that confidence level going into student clinic, going into outpatient, going into peak, all were at top-notch levels because you were like, okay, now it's me and this patient. I'm ready to serve this patient out of an abundance of my heart, and I know for a fact that I'm going to give them my personal very best because it's like, it's not necessarily that you're perfect. It's because you're not. You're going to make a lot of mistakes, but you're also giving the best to that patient at the time that you have to offer. If you're like, crummy and you're just like wailing on people, nothing's moving, nothing's doing anything. And like you said, you have someone you're on the table looking up to you or looking at you, right? And it's like, dude, what are you doing? Like, is this a joke? Go ahead.
Like, we entered student clinic when we first got here. We were doing prereqs. So, I mean, like, this kind of just dropped in and it was like, well, there's so many students at our school that are going to student clinic that are just on our prereqs that are still deciding whether they're going to come into the DC program or not. Mm-hmm. So really, our student clinicians in student clinic have a huge responsibility to deliver chiropractic to those people and really put on to add that quality for them and get them excited about entering the program. Because, I mean, they hear the terror from the students once they're at school, now that they've committed to this. And so it's like, but they need somebody who's further along in the program to show them, like, if I can make it through, I promise you can. And this is what you can do with chiropractic and just deliver. Yeah.
And it's like your table talk, like if we want to talk about table talk, is so different when you're talking to like lower quarter students because you are acting as a mentor, right? You are helping them along the program. And also, like, why wouldn't you want to be delivering the best care you possibly can be? Because they're the most subluxated. They just moved away from their families. They are in biochem 1 and 2. They're in neuroanatomy, like all of this crap that's like just thrown in their face, and they're taking 26 credits when the max they could take in undergrad was 18. And now it's like, right? And they're away from their chiropractor back home, and they're like, what the heck am I going to do? You know, and it's just nuts. So to deliver that high value adjustment in student clinic and outpatient clinic and even your peak program, because life has that, is so important. Or preceptorship, whatever your school does, that is so critical. And someone asked a question, so I want to jump in here and ask you guys. They said, Eric Doherty, you guys probably know him. Yeah, he says, how do you keep a balance between the hobbies, seminars, school, and self-care? What is your what does that look like for you guys?
So that's when you were going over the 3 parallel curriculums, the third one, I think we've definitely dropped the ball the most just because we just get so entangled with either school. But then, I mean, we were obsessed about the chiropractic curriculum. Obsessed. And then our hobby kind of became chiropractic. Yeah. Basically. So, I mean, that's still something that we're still trying to figure out and like juggle. And I mean, like, the last KTC camp that I went to, it rolled around and Brett was like asking us, I mean, I think we were doing like check-ins and stuff. And I don't know, because once I found out about the practice that we're building, we started that in May. I feel like I was trying to finish up school and graduate, open this practice and work on this new opportunity and enter peak and whatever else.
Boards.
And I felt like I was kind of excluding people. And so that was kind of like a wake up call to me, because I was kind of, I don't know, I was doing it all myself, and like I woke up and was just like, whoa, I need to get you to help me on this. I need to start reaching out to other docs. Like, I'm not alone in this.
Right.
And, I think it just came from being obsessed with the academics and then the chiropractic side, and not doing enough hobbies and self-care.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's the easiest one to put on the back burner, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. And we, like, as a couple going through school, we've literally been in the same classes for the last 4 years, and we live together, and we've done seminars together, and I mean, it's very easy to be like, oh my gosh, like, we studied together, that's a date, go away.
Yeah, I think our saving grace was, I grew up in Asheville, North Carolina, so that was an easy 3-hour drive on the weekends. So, I mean, we drive 3.5 hours, I'd get to see my family, and then, I mean, Asheville's just a cool place to go explore, so it was an easy weekend trip to kind of escape. And then, the first year and a half of school, up until like 5th quarter or so, I worked for Lululemon.
Yeah.
So that was nice to get out of the chiropractic bubble and around some people that didn't know about chiropractic. And that had some benefits of its own too.
I worked for a spin studio the first year of school, and it was so nice just to go and just like not talk about neurophys with people and like get good stuff. And I think that's something that's been really imperative to us, is like making sure we're staying in the gym, making sure we're getting adjusted, and then just like date nights are really big for us too, and just finding time to just connect with people who are not inside the chiropractic bubble. Because it's very easy to like forget your friends back home, or
like we'd purposely avoid Rev coffee, because that's where all the students study. So we were like, let's go to the coffee shops over on the other side of Atlanta where we know we won't see anybody.
So we did that a lot through school. Like we would go, because he has a bike, and I would like rent a bike from one of those little like rental things, and like we would just go park at like Pond City Market and just start biking down the Beltline, and it would just kind of get us some air, get us some movement going on, get us some sunshine. And we'd find a coffee shop, we'd stop there, we'd study for an hour, hour and a half, and then by the time you're like, okay, I need to get up, I need to move, okay, get on the bike, go down, and like we would just go coffee shop hop down the Beltline and study. And so like that was like a really nice break for us, because a lot of people don't leave Marietta, so it was nice. I go to Rev way too much, and I see someone that I know every time, and if I sit and study at Rev during finals week, I swear to you, I'll find somebody I know, and I'll sit there and I'll talk for 2 hours, and then nothing is done.
Right.
So just have to like a little distance away from the little bubble of Marietta.
Absolutely.
Go somewhere else.
Absolutely. So maintaining really, Eric, like maintaining those hobbies and external things and external conversations with people that aren't necessarily involved with the program or chiropractic. Now, if you choose to bring chiropractic into that, that's a totally different story, and that's on you. But it's like that's what's helped me as well personally, is like stepping out of the chiropractic bubble and really like exploring, you know, like you said, going on hikes and exploring town in Atlanta proper, and it's like that's what it's got to be about. So yeah, finding hobbies, maintaining them. Go ahead, Hayley.
He just ran a half marathon, so I'm sure like you getting out there in the woods and running and stuff is really good too.
But I mean, that was eye-opening when you said like there's that third curriculum, and that's the self-care one. I was like, wow, somebody needs to preach that. And
we're just now realizing that 13 quarters in, or probably like 12 quarters. We were like, wow, this is really important.
Yeah, and it is important. And I'm gonna do a quick shameless plug, because I'm working right now on it's like a pre-chiropractic / early on guide, and it'll be a trilogy. So I'll have early on, pre-chiro, early on, and then I'll have current and later on, and then I'll have 2 years out. But I'm not there yet, so I can't write that one. But it's like I'm working on these guides for chiropractic students, because we need to understand like not only the application process, but we also need to understand how to take care of ourselves while we're going through the program, and understand not only where to train, how to train, but also like how to train ourselves to step out of the academia for a second, step out of the seminar and conference like loop-de-loop that we kind of get into. But that's awesome. Everything you guys said was great. Eric says thank you. And so that was awesome. And I also want to mention quickly, like, I know Hayley and Taylor mentioned this, like, I guess, kind of throughout, I guess. They're talking about, like, KTC camps and going to seminars and conferences. It's surrounding yourself with people that are like-minded. So it is good to do both. And I'm not trying to go back on my statement of, like, excluding, like, stepping out of the chiropractic bubble, but I want to jump back into the parallel curriculum, and it really helps you surround yourself with like-minded people and create this kind of chiropractic student tribe that's like, hey, you know, you can help me with my adjusting. I know I can rely on you. I know I'll see you at the next seminar. I'll see you at the next conference. And it kind of creates that community and camaraderie that I think everybody should have throughout chiropractic school, because I speak to the first quarter class every quarter, and I'm like, guys, you are going to want to talk to your classmates. Not only your classmates, but also get involved, because these people that you meet in chiropractic school are going to be your best friends and your number one resources throughout the program, but then your bestest friends when you leave, right? It's like, that is what this is all about. So yeah, you guys nailed that on the head. I want to transition into student to doc. What does that look like? I want to talk about French Broad Chiropractic. I want to hear all about it, but I want to start with, what does this transition period look like for you guys? And is it daunting? Is it scary? How can people handle it, right? So start with those kinds of things, and then we'll jump in here and there to the conversation and ask more questions.
I mean, we kind of honestly feel like we're just playing catch up. And I mean, I tell that to everybody, and they're like, you haven't even graduated yet, and you're signing a lease this week. And I'm just like, yeah, but there's so many things that we don't get taught about. Yeah. Starting and owning and running a business, and it's like, man. So yeah. I'm gonna French Broad Chiropractic. So for those that don't know what French Broad is, it's the river that runs through Western North Carolina. So it's not really for y'all to get, but it's gonna really connect with the local community. And I mean, I grew up it's kind of like you shoot the hooch and then you float the French Broad. So.
Pretty much. Yeah.
I love it.
And I mean, it's kind of like, it's a really nice name, kind of like the Biltmore House, and like a lot of companies will name stuff after Biltmore. The most famous French Broad thing is the French Broad Chocolate Lounge. So yeah, we're just on their level. But
one day.
Yeah, I mean, I was honestly back home one weekend, and I was just training for the half marathon that I ran a couple weekends ago, and I was running around downtown, and I mean, I know the area pretty well, and there's a new belt line that just got finished, and I was running down that, and it led to this construction site that was at this really nice intersection. And I was like, and just like stuck that in the back of my head. By the time I got to school Monday, I was bored in class and just looking up retail spots, or like real estate, and it was just listed on the market for retail spots, and I instantly knew that that's where I had to be. So ended up reaching out to one of my friends from undergrad. He's a real estate agent in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I just asked him about it. Like, what does the process look like? Like, how do you go about it? And he just like replied, like, I sent him the thing. It was like, what do you think about this space? Like, it's cool intersection. Like, the local community has to go through it to get to Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, Harris Teeter. So, I mean, it's like anything you can think of location-wise, it checked the box.
Yeah.
And he replied back to me, is like, oh, well, I just put a proposal in. And I was like, what?
So, yeah, we're just chatting over Facebook Messenger. What?
Yeah. And so, like, he kind of, like, pushed me into it. And so that proposal ended up getting denied just because, like, the numbers were completely off. And I mean, it's better to lowball them as much as you can to just find that nice happy medium. But we ended up getting it approved, a proposal approved, and negotiated a few things in that. But because it's like a brand new construction site, it took a little bit longer to get the lease, and we just got it last week. And now I'm working with a few people going through the lease, making sure it's legit and that we're not going to get screwed in any way. And we
important things.
Yes.
Probably will. We won't. It looks pretty legit. But yeah, and I mean that's part of the process too. And so like I mean I have like a lot of friends doing other coaching groups, and like I was a part of like a coaching group for a little bit, and people were saying there's like, oh, this guy like use this real estate agent and like he'll fight for you, he'll fight for chiropractic and like all this stuff. And but I already was locked in with my real estate agent, and I don't know, I didn't know this, but real estate agents are free to you. They get paid on this based off the lease and the brokerage from the landlord. For us leasing the space, like we pay them nothing. Right. And so like they'll work hard just to get any like our negotiations approved, what we want, and to make sure we're happy, the landlord's happy, and that everything gets signed away so that they can get paid. Right. So
which is nice on a student budget of nothing.
Exactly. Right. So real estate agent when you want to begin opening up. And if you need one in North Carolina, I got you. But
there's plugs there too.
Yeah. But
I think we always knew that we would open up. We didn't know when, we didn't know where. We toyed with going to Europe for a bit.
So for us, like, I mean, the Dr. Matt who planted the seed in that we should be chiropractors, he opened up his own office. Nico opened up his own office.
Yeah.
Nick opened up his own office. Like, and then when we got to school and we started meeting people, like they graduated, they all opened up their own office. So I mean, like we were constantly around people that opened up themselves. Yeah. And so like that's, I kind of like, guess what prepared us, and like, I don't know, we just always knew that we were going to open up. And I just remember my train of thought. So, about the real estate agents. So people were like, oh, well, why don't you use these real estate agents that know chiropractors and like have opened up or like dealt with those leases. And for me, like I felt like I really needed to do that myself with my real estate agent who knew nothing about chiropractic, because I had to prove that I could do the work and that I could speak chiropractic and that like, I don't know, I really wanted to fight for it and like earn it.
Yeah.
And so like,
and it's worked pretty well.
And I think it was 2 days before part 2 boards, the landlord actually backed out of our approval. So like literally, like when we found this, we started paying attention to the business classes and like actually made like legit business plan. And so like we were prepared, but I mean, for him as an investor, like it made sense. You're a recent grad, you start a business, you have no proven anything, you have no patient base, like how are you going to open up this business and thrive? But luckily I paid attention to those business classes and didn't use the past around business plans. Right. We actually like pieced together one and then like took it seriously. And then when he backed out, I was like, absolutely not. Pieced together the business plan even more, tailored it to him, put together our resumes. We found out that we, like between the both of us, we've done over 100 seminars through school.
Technique seminars alone. Yep.
And so sent him both of our resumes, our business plan, and then we had a really legit income projection of what we wanted to do and our goals and like the money that we planned to make throughout the year. And the following Tuesday, he was like, oh, we're back on. Yeah.
That is so awesome. And I wanna ask you, like, so you obviously went to more so your hometown kind of thing. And that was kind of like you didn't know where you wanted to practice, but it kind of just happened this way, which is amazing because I think a lot of people get hung up on the location, and it's not necessarily about the location. It's like what you want, you can make happen. You just have to be clear on what it is that you want. And then, so I want to ask you, because you and I, Taylor, talk about this a lot, and Hayley, you've been involved in these conversations before, but like, where are you going to get the resources to open up a practice? What are you doing? Who are you asking? What kind of, online stuff are you doing? And like, how did you know to reach out to a realtor? How did you know that you couldn't just go in and be like, I want to call the owner of this property and, ask him to do this? Like, where did you find that information out for the both of you?
So, I mean, like with the realtor, I was just reaching out to him for advice. Like, how do I go about this?
Right.
I know chiropractic. I don't know real estate. Like, help me out here. And he pushed me into it. And, I really just let him master in what he masters, which is the real estate game. And then I just focused on chiropractic and what I wanted in my office to be, or our office to be.
Yeah.
And, he didn't budge. And then like with the negotiations, we budged some of the numbers just to make them make a little bit more sense and like work together and make it happen. But, what was the second part of that question?
Like, where did you go? Where did you go to get the resources / like, where are you currently going to get the resources to open up a brand new practice?
Yeah, and so a lot of it, like, we've just been asking people, like, for advice and like business advice and like all that stuff. Like, I spent 4 hours in Lincoln's and Dr. Andrews' office last Thursday because I reconnected with one of my classmates from high school. She's the stepdaughter to one of the high school football coaches that knew my dad very well, knew me very well. He's still at the high school that I graduated from. And now he wants to meet me. And so I'm going to go back to Asheville one of these weeks to sit down with him and the athletic head, and we're going to get in that school and serve those kids. So
just using the connections that you have is really awesome.
Like, you talked to the campus pastor of the church that we were really involved with.
Our church back home has an Asheville location. I say back home is in Charlotte, and I literally reached out to the campus pastor today just offering, hey, whenever we come back, we're getting involved ASAP and would love to come serve the staff, like, for free.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, we firmly believe that, like, the same hole that we give is the same hole that we receive. And so, like, there's no point in us having all of this awesome stuff if we're just going to keep it to ourselves and be selfish with it. And if we just want to serve, you know, we've been given this awesome gift, and we've worked super hard to, like, be where we're at now. And it would be a massive disservice if we just kept it all to ourselves.
Yeah, and building off of that, like, people really see your heart. So even if you don't go back to your hometown and, like, you don't have those connections, like, go to the local schools, go to the local high schools or the churches and, like,
coffee shops,
just figure out where you can serve and, like, how you, like, people really do feel your energy and your heart and your intentions. So, like, as long as that heart's there and, like, you just want to serve out of abundance and love, then you're going to be taken care of, and it's going to follow you.
And we've always believed that who we are as people precedes who we are as chiropractors, and so we've really tried super hard to work on, like, being better, like, ourselves. Like, it doesn't matter if my hands are awesome. If I'm a crappy person, like, nobody's going to come to my office. And so, like, I've really seen that even firsthand with experiences that I've had through school. Like, we also believe that we create the healing facility and the healing environment that we want to see healing in. And if we are super selfish or super negative, or we don't think that anything's like, oh, woe is me and my life sucks, then, like, I'm sorry, how is anyone supposed to heal in that facility?
Right.
And we've always just tried to just not even be better than anybody else, but just be the best possible version of ourselves that we can be. So whenever we show up to the table, we show up when we unlock the doors to our office. We know that we are presenting the best possible version of who we are, and it's authentic. And so we've never tried to be anything that we're not. We're just, we're Hayley and Taylor, and we just tried to be the best that we can be for the people on our table.
And you'd be surprised, like, from that heart, like, what you can manifest, too.
Oh, for sure.
So, I mean, like, so much of this has just been, like, a massive manifestation, and, like, the universe, like, like we said earlier, it all happens for a reason, and it's amazing how it unfolds.
Oh, for sure.
Because we didn't really plan on going back to Asheville, and then it just happened.
Like,
and then
quick.
Since it happened, now everything's just been falling into place.
Literally.
But literally, you can practice your manifestation skills through school. I've been manifesting my board scores since part 1, and it's looking very well.
The car that is sitting in my driveway, I manifested that, and my parents showed up in it. This stuff works,
Absolutely. So. Yeah, you guys nailed it, and I love the fact that both of you are, you're opening up, and I'm going to get into this. I have one last question remaining before we close the show out, but I want to say that, like, you two can do, and Taylor said it earlier, it's like, if Taylor's like, if I can do it, you can do it. But, like, there's truth to that. Like, there's truth to anyone doing anything. If you've seen it done, it means it's attainable, it's achievable. But even if it's not, like, even if you're, you know, maybe going overseas to practice or whatever, and maybe that path is a little more murky or muddy, and you're not so clear, or you can't get the right advice from people, it will work out. And I love what you said. And a lot of people tend to think like you get hurt if you wear your heart on your sleeve. And I kind of believe the opposite of that, because I agree with you guys 100%. Like, if you serve wholeheartedly, you will receive that back 100% and times 100%. And I wrote down a quote that it made me think of, that it's like, people feel heart and they see passion, right? It's like those two things will drive your business forever. But then we talk about, you know, like, when I have conversations with Liam Schubel and he's talking about systems and procedures, yes, you obviously still have to have those in the works and, like, constantly being tweaked and changed to match what you guys are doing and how your heart and passion are presenting. But at the same time, people aren't necessarily buying chiropractic. They're buying you. And they're not buying your systems. Once they're in the system, yes, they can maintain in the system, but they're buying you. They want you. So you created this, like, passion in them that was like, oh my gosh, I got to get my spine checked. They've never heard, they didn't even know they had a spine. And it's like, oh my God, no, whoa, when did this happen? Like, this is amazing. And so it's like, that is what people come into your office for. Then you can change the conversation and start having this conversation of, like, okay, how are we going to retain patients? What does our new patient exam look like? All that stuff comes later. But you got to get the first component, and I've talked to 3 people now who are like, the first component of any marketing, no matter internal or any external marketing, is attraction. You have to attract people to what you're doing and what you're standing for. It's not necessarily why you're doing it. You knew that going through school, but it's what you are standing for that people are attracted to and will come into your office for. So I love that. I love that. And now the last question is, how has this process been as, like, a couple, like, handling this, you know, together? How has it been, you know, relationship wise? And, you know, for those of us that aren't in, you know, Chiro couples, but speak towards what you know, right? Like, you are in a Chiro couple. Talk about that. How has it been? What does that look like for other people who are trying to do the same thing?
You got it.
So it's been, honestly, I can say that it's been probably one of the best things for us is to go through school together. We intentionally started school 1 quarter apart, and wound up in the same quarter. Like, so we knew that there was going to be a lot of time spent together. And I can say honestly that the people that we started the program as, you know, we came here, we had been dating like 9 months. So in October will be 5 years of dating for us. Wow, that's next month. Mm-hmm. And like, it's crazy how time flies. And like, I can honestly say that the people that we started the program as, like, we have matured, we've grown, we've struggled, we've had really high success, we've had some lows. Like, we've gone through a lot of really, really awesome times, and we've traveled the world, and we've done so many incredible things together. And like, we are totally different people than when we first started this program. And I think that if it wasn't for both of us being committed to the same things, like, we probably wouldn't be here together now, because like, we both have a very similar drive, we both have very similar passions. And I think it makes it a lot easier when your partner is running the same race as you. Yeah. Because like, you can each like running and it's like, oh, I'm going here. And it's like, oh, I'm going here. Even in chiropractic. And like, you have, you know, for example, like one person wants to practice tonally only and one person is Gonstead. It's like, could that work? Sure. But like, is it a little more challenging? Sure. And so I think like we've gone through a lot of just growth opportunities together. Like, individually and together, as to where like we, you know, whenever we decided to open up, we weren't sure if we wanted to, because it's like, you know, we see amazing couples who are practicing together and they are killing it. Yeah. And then on the other hand, you see amazing couples who were in separate offices and they are killing it.
Right.
And so you're like, okay, so what fits us? What do we do? What do we want to do? And so we're like, I think we're better together than apart. And so we might as well go into this thing together, try to kill it. And like in our own way though, like we don't need to recreate the wheel. We don't need to be the same people that, other people have seen. Like we need to be authentic to ourselves and our expression of our, love for each other and our process the way with that as well. And so I think like for people who aren't in a chiropractic relationship, like I would say just try to invest your partner into what you believe.
Right.
I imagine it would be pretty difficult if your partner was not like a fan of chiropractic. And so like I'm not saying that like you can't date like a medical doctor or, do your own thing. Like I don't care. But like
you have to support each other.
Exactly. And if like that support, I think the support and the encouragement along the way is what's going to drive the relationship, even if, the romance isn't always there at all times. Because, so we get home sometimes from peak and like we're tired and it's like, all right, so cool. Like I still love you for you. Who cares? So like just that support and that love, even if you're not in a chiropractic relationship, I think it's just going to keep it going.
Yeah. I mean, like, I think one thing that our pastor from back home, like, said, comparison kills.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, you see everybody else's relationship through school.
Yeah.
And then you see, like, this relationship doing this thing, this relationship doing this thing, and then you see all the people that are outside the bubble and how their relationships are going, but that's not your relationship.
Right.
And so I think comparison kills, and recognizing like, no, this is our relationship and this is how we're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But, and then also recognizing like, okay, chiropractic school can feel like high school sometimes. And it's like, do we feed into that or do we step back from it? And then,
True.
Also, I just lost it, but it's going to come to me.
I'm sending it to you.
Yeah.
No, I agree with you guys. And what's that?
Here it is.
Cool.
So,
Good job.
also, chiropractic school is not real life. I mean, we're playing with Monopoly money, like $350,000 worth of debt Monopoly money that doesn't become real until 6 months after graduation.
True.
And so, like, chiropractic school, like, the struggles that you face there and, like, just academically or with classmates or whatever, like, I don't know, because it does kind of feel like high school at sometimes, like, that's not real life. Like, let's see how our relationship goes after school.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
What it becomes that way once you're out of that high stress and like everything,
right?
Too. So.
And then I think we've also tried to do a good job of like maintaining a healthy boundary at school, because like you will never see us like on top of each other and like whatever at school, because we find that that's like, I mean, for us, I really don't care what other people do, but like we don't like a whole lot of PDA. Like you see people like who are training with us with KTC and people are like, oh, y'all are dating? Cool. Who knew? Like, cause we try to separate that, cause like we don't need to be all over each other all the time. And so we find that like maintaining like a really solid boundary, like whenever we are in school, because that is our professional relationship, like with teachers, and, you know, we would never want for like someone to think of us in like a way that doesn't represent who we are.
Well, that's just so we can step back from the bias too and be more non-biased, especially in like facilitating the club. It's like we don't want to put our relationship, our emotions into the way that we're leading.
Right.
So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we try to, like, we're just two facilitators in that role.
Yeah.
And we just happen to be dating. So like we've tried to like create healthy boundaries with that as well, just on campus and at seminars. Because in the beginning, we definitely were those people at seminars who like only wanted to work with each other. And like we since have like definitely branched out of that. And it's like, okay, cool. Like I can work with somebody else. And you can, like we've totally matured a long way.
Right.
Right. School. Were you saying something?
Go ahead.
I thought Johnny was.
Nope. Go ahead, Taylor.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Taylor. What were you gonna say?
I wasn't gonna say.
Oh, all right, cool. Anyways, hey, you never know. Live is like, hey, are you gonna say okay? Anyways, Taylor, thank you. Hayley, thank you. One, you guys are a kick-ass chiro couple, and you are absolutely, number two, going to crush it in practice. So Asheville, North Carolina, I'm actually gonna get rid of this tag right here, and we're gonna throw this up there. This is their Instagram tag and their their Facebook tag. So find them at French Broad Chiro on Instagram, and also find them at French Broad Chiro on Facebook. So that link is on the screen right now. Thank you all so much for being here, for watching this, for interacting with us. Thank you, Taylor and Hayley, for all that you do. Thank you for all the knowledge that you dropped. And Taylor, like I told you, dude, these things just take off. And we've been talking for over an hour right now, and it's just like you never know. Like, you never know. But I absolutely love it. I always love to show my show notes, because it's important to take notes and always be learning, always stay humble. And Steve Jobs, to quote him, stay hungry. But thank you guys. Do you have any last remarks that you want to say, leave the chiropractic students or audience with tonight?
I mean, I always tell students, like, if you ever need anything at all, feel free to reach out to us.
Yep.
So I mean,
We're an
like,
open book.
we're open. And then if I can share anything with you, like whether it's like my experience in opening up this practice or through school, or I know I owe some people a few like seminar lists that I promise I'm getting them to you. But I mean, like, anything you need, like, we're here for y'all.
Awesome.
For sure.
Our house is open. We're always down to grab coffee with people and just be a resource, because we've been given so much, and it would be a shame to not be able to give that back to people.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Reach out and they will reach back. That's the consensus I am receiving. Taylor, go ahead. What'd you say?
I said I try to do everything as free as possible too. So if we can collaborate and help share our resources together and grow something cool, let's do it.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you guys. I love you guys. Thank you for being on. I will see you in pediatrics lab on Thursday. I'm super excited for it. All right. Bye, guys. Have a good night. Thank you so much.
Bye.
And thank you, everyone, for watching and engaging with us tonight on the Chiropractic Compass podcast. Bye, guys.
bye.
Love and appreciate y'all.